Buckle up, Bama fans. I got something to tell you about Ryan Williams, and it may blow your mind. This is Way Off Sides. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever the case may be. Welcome to another episode of Cotton Time with me, Cotton, Way Off Sides Cotton, at Way Off Sides, your favorite college football, primarily Bama show. I got something I want to talk about today that is going to really ruffle some feathers, even amongst the Alabama faithful. It already has on social media, and I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that because full discretion, first of all, it gives me engagement. And then secondly, we don't have to all agree. Now, before I dive too far into this, I will say I am not excluding my bias in this video. So if you are an Ohio State fan watching this video and you're getting ready to tear me apart, I am being 100% biased, and I'm fine with it. I'm fine with it. That being said, I do believe what I'm about to say, and I'm going to give you some examples why. But brace yourselves. Make sure you're sitting down before I say this out loud. I'm kind of scared, but I'm going to say it. I think that in 2025, the entire college football world will learn that Ryan Williams, the once 17-year-old wide receiver at Alabama, is better than Jeremiah Smith at Ohio State. Now, with everything I say, I always want to preface, I am not talking poorly about Jeremiah Smith. The kid is an absolute unit. He is a freak of nature. He is one of the best wide receivers I've seen come through college football since Julio Jones. He is complete. If he were to have been draft eligible this year, probably would have been the number one pick in the draft. Ryan Williams, you could make a very similar argument other than size. So let's get into this. Stick around. Hear me out before you throw me to the wolves. Somebody hit the music for me. Ryan Williams, freshman phenom at Mobile area, stormed off the stage at Alabama. Everybody knew who he was. He was a fan favorite before he even touched the field. But he showed out as the Tide took down the Georgia Bulldogs in Tuscaloosa last season. And if you didn't know his name before then, you knew it after. You also knew that he was only 17 years old, because every time there was an Alabama game, everybody made sure to tell you, he's only 17 years old. Well, Ryan Williams is now 18 years old. I believe he turned 18 in February. But I'm here to tell you that despite a phenomenal freshman campaign, his sophomore campaign is going to be absolutely bonkers. And there's a couple of reasons why. Now, I don't want to take away from the historic season that the Miami Gardens, Florida native Jeremiah Smith had at Ohio State. Smith had an amazing season, and of course, their national championship run in the playoffs, it looked fantastic. Jeremiah Smith, if by chance you come across this video, this is not a knock at you. A lot of this is probably fan service to make myself feel good. But you, sir, are an absolute beast. And we would be blessed to have you in Tuscaloosa. We would take you in a heartbeat. That's not a recruiting pitch. I'm just trying to tell you, we really think you're a baller, man. But so is Mr. Ryan Williams. Now, last season, we'll go through these numbers. Jeremiah Smith finished the season with 1,315 yards. Now, he played a few extra games compared to Ryan Williams, who finished the season just under 1,000 at 865 with 8 touchdowns. Jeremiah Smith had 15. Now, here's where it gets interesting. Smith, obviously, because there was an expanded playoff, they made it to the very end, won the whole thing. He played several extra games compared to Ryan Williams. Ryan actually averaged more yardage per catch than Jeremiah Smith at 18. Not much more. Jeremiah just over 17 yards per catch. Now, here's where it gets interesting, though. This is the interesting stat here. Jeremiah Smith did this by catching the ball 76 times. Does anybody want to guess how many times Ryan Williams caught the ball? How many receptions he had in 2024? Well, it was almost 30 less receptions, and he did it in 48. And he almost had 900 yards in the season. Alabama did a much better job of dispersing the ball late in the season. Jalen Milroe, for a while there, it seemed like he was forcing the ball to Ryan Williams a lot, and he shared the wealth a lot towards the end of the season. But I can't really make an argument there in terms of, Jeremiah Smith, because Ohio State, Alabama, LSU, those schools always have insane wide receiving groups. And so, they're spreading the wealth as well. Now, in the Natty, he had Jeremiah Smith had a pretty big game. I mean, I think he had 5 catches, just under 100 yards, 80-something yards. But he had one really, really important one. And so here's what I'm basing the bulk of my argument on is Will Howard. If you look at the quarterbacks, Jalen Milroe versus Will Howard last year, in terms of being a pure pocket passer, okay, pure pocket passer. We're not talking about scrambling, making plays. We're talking about being able to throw the ball from the pocket, being able to stand in there, read a defense, go through your progressions, feel pressure, shift in the pocket, find the open guy, make the throw. Will Howard was better at that all season long than Jalen Milroe. Milroe had his flashes. I get it. He went higher in the draft. He went higher in the draft because he can run. But in terms of being a pure pocket passing quarterback, Will Howard gets the nod there in terms of being able to distribute the ball to his receivers. If you don't agree with me, look at their 76 receptions compared to 48. So you're going to bring in another quarterback this year, as well as a much more talented wide receiving room at Alabama, which should absolutely free things up for Ryan Williams moving forward. And I think it's not going to Ryan Williams getting somewhere between 70 and 80 targets during the season is not going to be unheard of. Now, Bama may choose to spread the ball around a little bit more, but when you've got other guys that you have to worry about, bringing in Isaiah Horton, obviously you've got Jeremy Bernard, you've got Latsir Brooks coming in, you've got just some insane, again, extremely talented, I think is going to end up being the most talented wide receiving room in the country when it's all said and done. That ball has to be distributed amongst all of those guys. But what that does is that also draws a lot of attention away from Ryan Williams. And we know you get Ryan Williams in a one-on-one situation. That's going to be a fight he wins most of the time. Ryan Williams wins that battle most of the time. Not to say that Jeremiah Smith doesn't, because he probably does. But I don't think Ohio State returns as strong of a wide receiving core as Alabama does as a whole in 2025. And I think that benefits Ryan Williams, because what's going to happen is defenses are going to focus in on Ryan Williams, but when they realize that they've got to spread it out, because Bama has got plenty of options at wide receiver, you're not going to be able to double team Ryan Williams every play. You're not going to be able to do that every play. Defenses are going to do the exact same thing to Jeremiah Smith moving forward into his sophomore year. It's going to be really interesting to see in a couple of years how these guys draft compared to each other. Now, if I want to take off my crimson-colored goggles and be 100% honest with you, I do think ultimately Jeremiah Smith is the better player, especially in terms of his body size. He's 6'3", 215. Ryan Williams obviously is on the smaller side. He's only 6 foot, 175 pounds. He's very small. So it's a lot easier for Jeremiah Smith to body dudes. Very reminiscent of like a Julio Jones, right? Just big bodies, wide receiver. But I think with all the focus on Jeremiah Smith, we heard it in the draft. They were just hyping this guy up, and the hype is valid. It should be there. But I think moving forward, with Alabama starting a different quarterback going into 2025, one that I believe will be a more accurate and efficient passer at all levels of the field, I think Ryan Williams is going to benefit greatly for that. We saw him get very frustrated with some of Milroe's throws last season because he couldn't do anything. They're errant throws. Williams is the kind of guy that once he makes a catch, if he's got a little bit of space, he's going to make you hurt. We saw that. Ask Malachi Starks. So tell me what you think. I'm probably wrong. I'm probably going to get just reamed for this one, and that's okay. You guys are allowed to have your opinions, even if they're wrong. I'm just kidding. So, I think that Ryan Williams could potentially be better than Jeremiah Smith in the long run. I don't think it's likely, but we'll see. So, thanks for sticking around with us. We absolutely love you. If you haven't yet, please like the video, leave a comment. We are working on a new intro that's going to feature some of your comments. If you'd like to make that intro, please leave a comment. Leave a good one. Obviously, if it's got foul language or something, we can't. I'm sorry. Sorry, J-Bank, but we love you. And as always, say your prayers, read your Bibles, wash your hands, horns down. Beat Auburn and LSU and Tennessee too, guys. Roll Tide.